And welcome back to the first episode for week 1 of 2024 College Football Corner. As you can see, I'm alone right now. Hopefully Randy gets in here. I haven't heard from him, so I don't know what may or may not be going on, but we're kicking this time slot every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and hopefully we're going to keep that. That's our plan, but we'll let you know if we have to deviate from that. So what an incredible season we have laying out before us. Right now, there are games already started. Rutgers was up by 10 on Howard as I was looking about 20 minutes ago. Coming up later, Colorado is hosting the North Dakota, I believe it's the Bison. That's in Colorado, obviously. And also later on tonight, North Carolina travels to Minnesota. Big games going on tonight. There's actually 21 games on the table tonight, so that's pretty incredible. Tomorrow, not nearly as much. I think it's 6. And then, of course, Saturday it all kicks off. And this is the inaugural season for the 12-team playoff. And what an incredible year it's going to be to watch that all unfold and see how that's going to take place. There's a lot of speculation. Is it going to be just mostly some more Big Ten and SEC teams? It's supposed to make other teams get more chances, but who are those teams going to be that get those extra chances? In my mind, I see, there's, 5 conferences that are in play for 4 top slots. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 highest ranked conference champions automatically get top 4 slots and get a bye. So you're talking Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Big 12, and then there's a Power 5 conference, obviously. So, though if those slots are going to be taken, those are going to be conference champions. The losers of those conferences in years past with divisions everywhere, there's always the possibility, especially in the Big Ten, where the other team already has like 3 losses or something. They're not really considered to be a player. But now everything's just straight up and down. So there's no divisions. So almost certainly that second team, the loser of the conference championships, are going to be a pretty good team, unless the conference just beats the whatever out of each other and everybody's got 3 or 4 losses. Then that's going to be, but more than likely it's going to be 2 teams with maybe 1 or 2 losses at the most going into these conference championship games. So you got to figure those conference championship losers, they're probably getting in too. So if you take those 4 slots and those 4 losers, that's 8 slots right there. There's only 4 slots left. One of those is going to be the group of 5 best highest ranked champion. So there's 3 slots left. Notre Dame is not involved in any of that because they're not in the conference. So if they're highly ranked, they're gonna get a slot. Now you're down to 2. And who are those 2 going to be? Potentially, I think, the 3rd best team in the SEC or Big Ten, and or the 2nd best team, or 3rd, but in one of those other cards. So there's really not a whole lot of slots open, and then when you add the fact that the SEC and the Big 12 just added Big Ten just added a whole bunch of new teams, Penn State is a one school. A lot of people talk about, this is great. This is great for Penn State. Penn State's gonna benefit from this 12-team playoff because they're always the outside looking in. Well, now they've got Oregon and USC and Washington to deal with on trying to make themselves the 3rd best team in the conference. And that's not going to be an easy slate, especially this year. Oregon is really expected to be very good, if not one of the best in the Big Ten. Them and the Buckeyes are potentially supposed to be the fighting for the championship, if you will. And we'll find out a lot about that on October 12th. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all this unfolds. But right now, we're just happy we got a kickoff. We got games. All the scandals and all the cheating stuff and all the everything news-wise is over. It's time to play football, and football is being played right now. So we got big games all weekend long. This is a no NFL weekend, no preseason, no nothing, just nothing but college football, the way we like it right here at the corner. And we got some big games. Some games I want to talk about. First one here is high noon, right off the bat, Clemson at Georgia. What a game. We're talking Georgia Bulldogs, 2 of the last 3 championships, the national championships, back-to-back. That last year, they weren't even in the top 4 to get in to try to get 3-peat. A lot of people think they could have. So they got, Carson Beck as their quarterback. They had Stetson Bennett going back-to-back. He went to the pros. Carson Beck, all he did was go out and throw for over 70% of his passes and like 4,000 yards. Pretty good numbers, especially the percentages. Good team, great defense, good running game. expect a lot of Georgia. Maybe not. I don't know if anybody in the SEC is going to go undefeated, because it's a gauntlet no matter how you slice it for the most part, especially the teams up towards the top. They got a lot of teams they got to play that are just look really good on paper. So, and then before you even get in the SEC action for Georgia, they got to host Clemson. Clemson is, I believe, a 2-time champion of the college football playoff, and they've been there one other time when they lost, I believe. And they've been in there when they lost, not even getting to the final game. They were, I think, in it 5 years in a row or something like that. They really, really had a nice run. And Dabo Swinney's a great coach, and they're looking to establish the fact that they haven't gone anywhere. They just kind of retooled a little bit, and they're ready to go. So that's a game you really, really, I'll have my eyeballs on that. I'm going to a big party on Saturday, and I'm going to be watching college football all day. That's game one. So you definitely want to keep your eyes and your ears on Clemson, Georgia. That's going to tell a lot about the ACC and the SEC coming out of that game. Somebody, unfortunately, is going to get a loss in that game. So another game. This is not quite national championship implications, but this should be a heck of a game. Penn State at West Virginia. I think this is called the backyard brawl, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of bad blood, a lot of history here. They're real so close to each other. It's nice to see Penn State, West Virginia, Pitt all playing each other in a rotation. That'd be nice. Look for West Virginia to really be good in this game. They're hosting it. It's tough to win on the road. Penn State last year, Drew Aller, their quarterback, didn't have the greatest year. They were expecting big things from him. Now they're really expecting big things from him. And I think he's a junior now, so he's really got to show up and show that he can play. He can play elite and lead that team. A couple great running backs, not really stout on the wide receivers. Great defense as always. They got Tom Allen, head coach of IU, is now the defensive coordinator at Penn State. And so they're ready to go. West Virginia is a team that's retooling. I don't know a lot about them because I don't follow the Big 12 nearly as much as I do other ones, but I have listened and heard some things about them. It's a game that if Penn State, they're expected to win, I should be maybe more like pick to win, but not by a whole lot. West Virginia's a good team, so that could be an upset in the making right there. Not a huge upset, but an upset nonetheless, So it's another game that's going to be a good one to pay attention to, no doubt. So another really, really interesting game is the U at the Swamp. Miami Hurricanes, Mario Cristobal did a great job out of Oregon, went back to his alma mater where he played last year, had an interesting year to say the least. We all remember what happened with Georgia Tech, and here they are. They're going to the Swamp, and can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. It's escaping me. The head coach of Florida, Napier, Billy Napier. He's on the hot seat. There's no doubt, and it's a bad year to be on the hot seat for him because they have an incredible schedule. I believe in the month of November they play 5 straight top tier teams. We're talking like Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, and maybe somebody else in there. It's pretty ridiculous what they got. Tennessee, I think. Incredible. And so they start the season at home against the Miami Hurricanes, who have got that dynamic quarterback from I think he was from it was Washington State, I believe. Cam Ward. Incredible. Dual threat, legs, arm. It's the U. They're on the road in the Swamp. Tough place to play, even on your worst days. Of course, Graham Mertz is the quarterback down there, ex-Wisconsin Badger. Nobody really knows what to expect, but one of those two teams is going to come out with a win, and that's going to help set their season up. And the other one's going to be wondering, perhaps, where they are going forward. It's obviously one's in the ACC, one's in the SEC, so it's not a conference game, so it's not a huge loss. But if you get blown out, if this is a great game down to a field goal, then both teams probably come out feeling pretty good. But if somebody blows the other one out, it could get ugly, especially if Billy Napier gets blown out. He's going to get fired in week 1, but it ain't going to look good if he can't put a good team on the field and score some points and play some good defense. Another big game, Notre Dame, the team we talked about a little earlier that doesn't have a conference, so they can't get a conference championship. Notre Dame could be the number one ranked team in the nation according to the CFP, and they will not get a bye because they are not a conference champion. Interesting. I think you're going to potentially end up changing some of the language of that. Everybody in one way or another is trying to strong arm Notre Dame into going to a conference, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. At least probably not my lifetime, which maybe another 50 years, maybe. That would put me at 105, so who knows? But they travel all the way down to very, very hot Texas A&M. Now, it is Saturday night. I think it's a 7 o'clock start, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's late. It might be 3:30. Oh, man, I can't remember. But that's a very hot area to play. That's one of the toughest stadiums to play in, especially, obviously on the road. Kyle Field, I think it is, the 12th man. Crazy environment down there. Tough for Marcus Freeman to take the troops down there and try to come out with a win. Week 1, when you're just having, there's no preseason in college football, so you don't really know a whole lot about your team except for spring ball and summer camp, so fall camp they call it. So huge game right there, non-conference. Whoever wins got a nice win going into other play before conference starts. Whoever loses really needs to bounce. And of course, Notre Dame probably can't afford as many losses as others because they don't have a conference to fall back on. So another very interesting. This is all happened on Saturday, folks. This is all happened on Saturday. But these last two are Sunday and Monday. This game here is on Sunday. Southern Cal, Big Ten team now, travels down to Death Valley and the LSU Tigers. Big implications in this game. Obviously Lincoln Riley, they want to make some noise, a splash. The last time we saw the quarterback, Miller for USC, he was throwing 6 touchdowns in the bowl game. Caleb Williams obviously opted out. They were looking good. They haven't had a great defense as they've been the SC. He supposedly has addressed some of those issues. So we'll see. And LSU obviously is an incredible hard place to play on the road. Another hard place, hot Louisiana. That defense, no matter who's the head coach of LSU, they almost always have a defense that's going to make you earn every yard. So I don't know what to expect from that. It could be, it could be a run and gun on both sides of the ball if nobody's got defenses that are good doing anything. So who knows what Kelly's got cooked up with LSU, and Lincoln Riley, you can almost guarantee is going to put points on the board. He almost always does wherever he's coached. So that's a big game. And then we end the weekend. That was Sunday night. On Monday night, Labor Day, Boston College going to Florida State. Now, this may not look as sexy as just checking it out, but Florida State already got beat by once last week in Dublin, Ireland, against conference foe Georgia Tech. So they got a 0-1 in the conference. They're the ACC. Guess what conference Boston College is in? The ACC. Florida State could be looking at 2 conference losses if they don't win this game. Now, they're at home. They're at Florida State, Tallahassee. Boston College got to make a big trip on the road. Tough place to go in and win, especially against a team that just had a tough loss. But Florida State was pushed around quite a bit by Georgia Tech. So they've got some issues. They've got to clean up. They got to fix what's wrong, so to speak. Boston College, first game out of the year. Nobody's banged up or hurt. They've had plenty of time to rest, and they got game film on Florida State where there's no game film on Boston College because they haven't played the game yet. So they got stuff they can look at. Then they can look at the Georgia Tech blueprint. Bill O'Brien, coach of Boston College, former coach of Penn State. He's been an assistant in the NFL with the Patriots. He head coached the Houston Texans. He almost took the coordinator job at the Buckeyes before he got this job at Boston College as the head man. So you got to figure this guy's a seasoned veteran. So it's not too out of the realm possibility that he goes down to Tallahassee, makes a game of it, and maybe gets out of it with a win. If Florida State goes 0-2, wow, that's nobody was picking that. There's a lot of guys, including Kirk Herbstreit, I think at Florida State in the Final Four. If not, if he ends up winning, I think he's got Oregon winning it, but he's got them going to the playoff. There's no doubt. And I'm not saying they're not, but if 2 losses, that's got to be their last loss if they lose this one. It's going all the way to make sure they can at least, because not only are the 2 losses, there are 2 losses in the ACC, so they can't even. It's going to be a tough road just to get to the conference championship with 2 losses in the first 2 games. So lots of implications in this game. So look for talent, look for the Seminoles to really, really be firing on all cylinders. Because if they don't, then you got to wonder what kind of season they're going to have. Because this is about as close to a must-win in the second week that you'll ever see in college football. So, So, we also got the Buckeyes, obviously, are playing Akron. They're at home. They're debuting Will Howard as their quarterback. Got a couple transfer guys, Keyshawn Judkins, I'll say his name. Got to practice that a few times. And, of course, they got Caleb Downs, a safety from Alabama, and some transfers. Will Howard is a new quarterback from K-State. Based on what we saw in that bowl game against Mizzou, they can only go up. That was a miserable game. But hopefully they look good. What I want to see domination on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That's pretty much football. If you dominate both sides of the line, you're going to have a pretty good game and you're going to have success. And if not, just win for sure. Because if you can control the line, you give your quarterback all kinds of time, guys will get open. Make no mistake, when Jalen Milroe threw that 4th and 31 against Auburn in the Iron Bowl last year, it was because he had all the time in the world to sit back there and wait for somebody to get open. If you just sit back there forever, somebody will get open because you can't run forever. These DBs get winded. So you control the line of scrimmage. That means you're blowing holes open for the running backs. That means the linebackers get drawn up and the passing lanes open up and your quarterback's clean and your running backs aren't getting hit till 3 yards downfield. And everything just works. So line of scrimmage is where you win the football game. There's no doubt. And there's a lot of guys that know that. Caleb Downs, I believe, bought everybody on the Ohio State roster Beats audio headphones, as a present. Kind of a fall camp closing, and let's go get this and get ready and play for everybody, play for the guy next to you. So I'm looking forward to the Ohio State game. Obviously, they play at 3:30 against Akron. I'm expecting just very good game. I should say not a good game, good game for Ohio State. It should be a blowout. It shouldn't even be close. It better not be close, so to speak. They need to come out firing. Good running game, big holes, lots of yards, lots of passing game, and tough defense, and that's what you want to see. That's what the Ohio State should look like if they're going to have a run for the national championship this year. If not, then it could be a long year for them. And we had a long year last year. With everything that went down last year, it was a long year. Yeah, I don't want to have another one of those. So I'm not sure Alabama's playing. I didn't look. I know it's nobody great, but so therefore it's nothing to talk about. Randy probably knows, but he's not here. So Alabama, looking for Ohio State and Alabama to win. Obviously, those are the two teams that him and I root for, but we call it like we see them. We don't, what do you call it? Homer it up or anything. I wasn't going to talk about the Connor Stallions documentary. I did watch it, but I don't want to, get into that with the show. It really doesn't matter what's on that documentary, what's in there, because documentaries these days, you never know how much is even truthfully real, 100%, or what's missing, blah, blah, blah. So anything and everything, when it all comes out, it comes out. And if it never does, then it was never there to begin with. So no big deal. What matters is what happens on the field, and we'll be moving forward with that. So enjoy the weekend, enjoy the games. It should be fun. We should have a lot to talk about next week. Remember, there's a lot of good games. It starts off with Clemson and Georgia. That's a great game. I think the Hurricanes and the Gators in the Swamp is going to be awesome. Notre Dame going to A&M. I think that's a big one. I'm also interested in seeing Penn State and West Virginia, but USC, going to LSU, and of course Florida State and Boston College. Big games, a lot of fun. And in a few weeks, we got to, I think it's in October the October 12th. We got a weekend that's going to blow this one away. It's incredible how many incredible games are on that weekend. So college football is back, and it looks like it could be one of the best years ever. The matchups are incredible because of the teams and the realignment. You got Texas, Oklahoma, and the SEC. As I said before, UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon in the Big Ten. And we're going to see games that we could only dream of seeing once in a decade, maybe. And now we're going to see them, every year, and every 4 years, they'll play everybody at least once. So incredible. Looking forward to it. So enjoy them, and we will see you next week right here on the Fletcher Entertainment Network. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Give us a like on Facebook. Hit the subscribe. leave a comment if you want, so we can all have a good time talking about college football. Until next week, I'll see you guys.